Welcome to Colonize the Ocean podcast, where we discuss oceanic colonization, exploration, and education with your hosts Adam Jewell and Brendon Traxler.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ASC Christmas Edition live stream. Today I am joined by a man hailing from Mississippi, standing at 6'1", weighing 240.
I'm not that tall.
Let me go for it. Gosh, you ruined every intro I try to do. Never mind. Brendon and Babe are with me too. Whatever. Merry Christmas. Yeah. I'm out of here. How are you guys doing? It's we got as of right now, we got 3 days until Christmas and 8-9 days till New Year.
Really, just one full day because we're gonna go to sleep after we get off here. So
sure, yeah,
not like together or anything like that, but
a little far apart for that anyway.
Hey, if you're willing to make the drive, I'm willing to put in the time.
No, so I guess we haven't done a live one with open to the general public for quite a while, and we've been focusing more on the Patreon. We're able to say more stuff in there and do more stuff in there. But I figured, hey, let's as a Christmas gift to everybody, let's do a live stream for everybody. And in fact, even more so, we're live on X tonight too, so we're able to go live on different areas now. So we're going to try out X, and I'll go into reason why later on in this stream here, in the video, the VOD if you're watching it later. Or the podcast. But anyway, so yeah, we're trying out X tonight as well. X gonna give it to you.
Yeah. I was gonna go with the rest of the lyrics, but family friendly. But yeah, we wanted to get one more out before the end of the year and kind of, I don't know, just do a little year in review, maybe just kind of, meanings that is open to, we're live, and this isn't just like a repost of the Patreon, if you're watching it right now, then you are you can.
Well, but if they're watching it later, they'll be watching it
real time.
Well, okay. If you're seeing it on Facebook or Twitter and it says live in the corner, that means you're seeing it right now. So, is what I'm trying
to YouTube.
Say. Whatever. Quit being so weird about all of it. But yeah, just so we can interact with the folks and just chit chat with them, talk about the future, talk about get a review in, and I don't know, if we've been naughty or nice and all that.
We're gonna talk about the past mostly, but whatever. So what is your guys' plans for this here weekend, Babe? What you doing?
Oh, me. Tomorrow we're gonna do some stuff. Well, my wife,
yes,
she wants to do some stuff early tomorrow before traffic gets into full gear, and then meeting up with my family in the evening. My son and his wife will be coming in on Christmas Eve, and then we'll probably just chill Christmas Day and then do her family thing either Christmas Day or the day after, I suppose. So it's spread out over a few days, so I get a long, extended Christmas.
Nice.
Day after day of presents, right?
Yeah. Hey, whatever floats your boat there.
Well, every kid's dream.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Adam?
I got 3 Christmases across the next 3 days, and then an actual 4th one next weekend. So I'm done with December already.
Yeah,
I am a Scrooge when it comes to not only Christmas. I've decided this year that it's just all holidays that I really don't care for anymore. I think it's just because being an adult just sucks.
Okay.
But no, I'm looking forward to hanging out with family and all that. It's just the preparation of the holidays is what's frustrating. I think me and Babe were talking about that before we went live. That's just all the running around, all the busy stuff. It's just ugh.
Yeah. Yep, I hear you.
Do you hear us though, Brendon?
I do.
Okay. All right.
Anyway.
You do.
So, what would you guys like to talk about? I have slides, obviously, as you can see down on the thing, and I'm ready.
What
They
are
can't.
you doing for Christmas?
Oh yeah, you talk about me. As little as possible.
Okay.
That's a dream.
Fortunately, I don't have one Christmas because I have nobody. But I mean, I have my immediate family, but it's just one Christmas. So
You sound super depressing when you say it like that. You're like, I have nobody.
So,
like
I got
so
one Christmas.
weak.
But usually what we do is like my dad and my grandma, they'll come over like Christmas Eve. Usually we like, and then we like open presents, stuff like that. So they'll just come over after Christmas one day and do another thing probably. And
Cue,
then Monday.
cue up the Van Halen Gigolo song for him.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So yeah, who knows? Monday, I don't know. I'll be around.
Didn't you say one of your traditions on Christmas is that you like to go get Chinese food?
So it wasn't necessarily a tradition. It's just like always in the past we just always go out and just eat Chinese food or go to the movies. Those two
We
things.
do that a lot.
Yeah,
I
movies
think
and
it's
Chinese.
so weird that like those things are open.
Well, the Chinese don't celebrate Christmas, so.
Okay, that's a pretty broad statement.
Well, I'm saying traditionally they don't. So that's usually that was explained to me why they're traditionally open.
Oh, okay.
By a Chinese person or
It
someone else?
It was so long ago, dude. I don't remember.
Is it
Okay,
one of those?
all right.
Is it one of
Okay.
those conspiracy YouTube channels you like to watch?
Yeah. Ancient aliens.
Yeah.
Coast to coast AM.
So anyway, but I guess we can just go ahead and get into what we're talking about this evening, which
Let's
is
do it. Let's just dive into it.
Yeah, we're just going to dive into it. We're going to dive into 2023 and what has transpired this year. And there's several things I want to talk about what we've done.
Well,
I shot my glasses. Just going over, what we have accomplished this year. It's one of the goals, for ASC is obviously most people know that what we're out here to do and what we're trying to do. So I kind of like recap at the end of the year what we've done and what we're shooting to do in next year. So what have we done this year, Adam?
oh, I remember that. That was pretty neat.
Yeah, we hit some we set DEMA and Underwater Intervention, 2 big trade shows, both at the same location, like 2 weeks apart, both massive events where we made some really good contacts, talked to a bunch of different people, and tried to meet up with different people. That didn't work out for whatever reason. But it was one of those things where we had Underwater Intervention hadn't been around for several years since pre-pandemic, and DEMA we just never been to before. And to go to DEMA, as we've discussed before, you have to be part of a business or organization or something along those lines. Okay. So pretty VIP, even though it was still packed and lots of people there and stuff like that. So they're both good events. Obviously, DEMA is more catered towards the diving community as a whole, where Underwater Intervention had partnered up with Workboat, which basically takes care of all the business and industrial side of boats and they had submarines. They actually had physical submarines and stuff at Underwater Intervention and stuff along those lines. So there's a different feel to it, but it was reaching out to different ones. DEMA, you had all your dive locations. So we talked to quite a few of those about, hey, here's what we're doing. Here's what we're working to achieve. We'd love to talk to somebody in your guys' area about partnering with you is to put underwater habitat there for whatever reasons. And so it was good for that. Meanwhile, Underwater Intervention, I was able to actually talk to people. The biggest one that I spoke with was Oceaneering, anybody that knows anything about underwater stuff knows Oceaneering. So I talked to them for quite a while, as well as some other people. Talked about waste, since one of our very first videos and podcasts we ever did was, I think it was called "Where Does Poop Go?" Where's the poop go, or something along those lines. And so I was able to talk to an organization about that as well and how I handle that. So really good conversations. So yeah, you have any? Since you were at one of them, Adam, you want to think anything you want to say? I mean, we've already done videos on this, but just to recap there.
I do think it was amusing. I think I don't I don't think I made this comment in the previous one, but you were saying it's heavily focused on the scuba community. And one of the things I noticed when we were there is like when we talk to people, they just automatically assumed you're a scuba diver when you talk to them. Like, because a lot of the conversations opened up as in like, well, how many dives do you do often? Or like, how often do you go diving and whatever? And I'm like, I've never done it. And they're like, oh, okay. So they had to reset how they were talking to me. But like, it was just assumed that if you went there, that you were a scuba diver.
Yeah. And one of the other ones from Dima was the Buddy app, which I spoke and talked to for a long time. And Babe is familiar with them because Babe and me are buddies on Buddy. But the more I'm trying to play with it more and get more and more in there. I haven't put any of my dialogues or anything like that in there yet. But they've got a lot coming down the pipe there. And so I'm very excited to see what they're doing and how we can integrate with them more moving forward. As far as a outlet similar to social media, because they say you can post different stuff in there, try to figure that out, so where that's at and how we do that. But I think that could be a great community for us to be able to discuss and talk to as well.
Yeah.
I want to go over our social footprint for 2023 and how we've grown. These are all accurate numbers. Like I pulled just today to make sure that everything was accurate of how many followers we have and how many we've grown this year. So as you can see there, obviously Facebook is our largest, but our podcast has had 3,333 listens. There was no way to get the demographics on actually how many people, because you don't subscribe to a podcast, but we have grown 22% this year on listeners and listening. So we have grown across the board on everything. Obviously, we need to do some work on some of those more than other, but we had to restart our Instagram. What was it, last year? I think it was, because it got removed because it was stuck to one of my accounts that got hacked or something along those lines. So we had to kind of start over with that, but it's been growing steadily. The X and the LinkedIn is just purely organic growth. Facebook, early on, we had, posted money into and stuff like that to try to grow, but still growing organically, just not as fast. But yeah, across all those, we've got a pretty decent following, and it's something that we want to focus on growing that more in 2024. I think that's by, once again, just regular podcasts and different social media and stuff along those lines, but having more engaging content and not just putting content out there of just, hey, here's a picture or here's a quote or something like that.
Right.
We're getting people to interact more with the content we're putting out there, whether it's questions or what have you. So that's something I'm going to rely on you guys a little bit more to help with the social media next year, as far as, hey, what should we be pulling the people on? Because every time I do put a post out there that asks a question, it always gets pretty good response.
Cool.
One of the things I was going to throw into that too is if I was trying to find it quick. I think it'd be worth mentioning our Discord server as well.
Sure, I didn't think about that. Yeah,
but keep talking for a second. I got it pulled up. I'm just looking to see.
Yeah, because there's like close to 60 people on Discord.
Yeah,
and we just had a couple more jumped in yesterday. One of them was a guy I'm going to talk about here in a second that joined in, plus Sean Waterford, who dropped in as well, who I've been trying to get for an interview. So yeah, we've got it's still growing here and there. And there's some. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Keep going. We have 62 members.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. So, yeah. And then Patreon, we have 5 members in there. So a solid 5 in there as well. So, we've got different people, different places. And then there's some possibilities next year as far as just different things to add to that as well. So yeah, I'm happy with all that. I think that we're doing fine for as little as we do on social media. I mean, we post stuff out there and we do these lives and we do a podcast, but like I said, we don't have super engaging content, but yet we're still growing. So I take that as a positive, and I take that as it's something people are supporting or at least interested in enough to follow. Right. So yeah. Any other thoughts on that before I move on?
Just actually something you and I have said before, because so many of the social medias have been showing this tiny house stuff, the smaller living
Oh yeah.
space, and I mean, to watch that grow just tells me there's a good I don't want to say customer base, but there's a good interest base there. Um, so break that off into the niche of underwater too,
Yeah.
and it's there. It's definitely there. You can see it.
Yeah, I think that's the key is that there is that it's very hot right now in the world. Can you transition that to an underwater platform? And if so, that's kind of where we're trying to. That's one of the areas where we're looking at as well. So yeah, 100%. And it's getting in with those. We had talked about even looking at going to maybe like a tiny home trade show or something along those lines. That talk to them and stuff along those lines. So that's still something on a possibility as far as next year is looking at is if there's one that's not too expensive and close to try to go to one of those too. Because I do think that if nothing else, some of the vendors and some of the technology inside those tiny homes can be moved over into an underwater habitat, especially with space saving. Because that's the biggest thing that I was watching those videos is the space saving, because you're dealing with a smaller area that you don't have all this room, and how do you make it work but still be functional and cool? And that's one of the coolest things. So the next slide we've got is connections. So here's 3 connections that we've either made or really fine-tuned or I'm happy with this year. Martin Henke, everybody knows about him. We've talked to him quite a bit. He's over in Turkey, been working on underwater habitat. Time zone issues is the biggest problem with him and me, because he is in Turkey, so it's hard for me to, especially now, to get with him. So I'm trying to work on like early in the morning, probably when I first get up, just making a call with him, like probably in 2024, get a regular basis on that, because that's how he prefers. We use Signal, I think it is, and we send messages back and forth on there. But I think moving forward, there's that. Then there's Ben Saloni. Ben Salone. Yeah. Anyway, if you're watching, sorry, Ben, for butchering your name. I actually just was talking to him on the phone tonight, actually. He has Arctide, which they're actually have production that they're working on floating houses. Very cool stuff. Very minimalistic look. He's got a lot of good ideas, and he's got a lot of progress. I think they're really going to be one. I mean, there's companies out there like Ocean Builders and like that have stuff in the water too. I think they're gorgeous designs. But what I like about Ben and his company is the modularity of what they're doing and how you can just add on more onto it and build out. And I really like that a lot. So I think that's really going to be a big thing for him. Plus, he's got some other big plans, and we've got some stuff we've been talking about that we may be, we'll see. I'm planning on heading. He's just down in Florida, so I definitely was planning on going down and seeing him before too long and hanging out and seeing what comes of all that. But really cool guy, and it's good getting to know him. Then the last one on the list is Creatus. I can't even say it. Creatus. That's it, because it's Spanish. But it looks like Creatus. And they're in Costa Rica, and not much on them, only on Instagram. You checked them out, didn't you, babe?
Yeah. That day you told me about them.
Yeah, okay. So I had a long call with them. Really cool guys. And one of them, Luis, he jumped in our Discord, and then I've got him on WhatsApp, and so we're going to have some future conversations. I'm trying to get him on for an interview, or some people from their team on for an interview. But they're 3D printing like small models right now of theirs and doing different testing and stuff along those lines. They've got the designs they're showing off aren't necessarily the designs they're going to go with, but they've got some really cool ideas, and they got some different pros and some cons being in Costa Rica too, that I want to save for us actually interviewing them, talking to them. But again, it's another organization out there that is working on a modular approach on a smaller scale. So I believe that they have a easier path to getting, not easier, but a better path to getting it done than some of these other ones out there. Whether it's the whomever, I'm not going to throw names out there, but somebody else. So those are 3 different ones that we've talked to this year or spoken with, and I have video with all of them. I feel like really good relationships with all 3 of them. So I think those are very positives that I want to in 2024 really fine tune on those and really focus more on those and get those in here, as well as other interviews and stuff along those lines, which I'm still trying to work on, getting other people who have worked on or designed or whatever with underwater habitats to get onto the live stream for 2024.
Cool.
Yeah. Any comments on those guys? I'll take that as a no. And so my last, you have something?
No, I just you would have had them in here, so it's okay. The deep guys.
Yep. What about them?
I know you had reached out to them. I didn't know, but like you would have them in here if you had. So
yeah. So no. So what's up with them is
gun.
So the one I had filled out the form when they first went live, and they never responded. So one of the guys shot me an email. He's like, "Man, we listened to your guys' podcast. We love what you guys are doing. We'd love to, talk to you more." I'm like, "Cool." He's like, "Let me get in charge. Let me get you in contact with our PR person." I'm like, "Awesome." So he shot emails back and forth. Got the PR guy, nothing. Sent him another email, nothing. Sent him another email, nothing. So it's like whatever. I'm sure they're being inundated, at their launch with stuff along those lines. So it wasn't one of the things. But they've got my contact information. I've sent them several emails. So that's where that's all at. I'll probably circle back around in 2024 and hit them up again. It's died down a little bit. But yeah, they're definitely be one I'd like to really talk to and get talk to them about some of their design elements and stuff like that too. So my last slide is something I want to start doing as well. Is what are we as ASC looking for to help all this come together in 2024? So I threw this cute little thing out here. Hey, join the team. Here's some stuff. We've talked about this in the past, but hey, if we could find people that would be willing to volunteer and join with us that have the skill set, that'd be awesome. That would definitely help us out a lot and probably bring the whole focus is bringing people that know what I don't know or that fill voids of knowledge or expertise and stuff like that, so that whomever doesn't have to do literally everything and learn everything too. Right now we've been outsourcing like the 3D graphics and stuff along those lines. So there's a cost to that, which fortunately we have Patreon members who have been able to help foot that bill, and I'm greatly happy about that. But if we had people that, and I know there's people out there, I know there's people that are in our community that can do this kind of stuff. If they wanted to lend a hand and help us with that, that'd be great. And same thing with social media. If there's people out there that had an eye or an ear or whatever to the pulse of social media and knew when to post, how to post, and do all that kind of stuff, that would be great as well. I would definitely love to work with people that know that. Maybe we'll have the next Gary Vaynerchuk in our community here, and he can colorfully throw out some social media stuff for us out there. But yeah, I was going to do more, but I was like, let's just keep it at 2. Let's just look at, hey, these are 2 people out there that you're out there in the community. You want to be involved. You've been sitting out there watching, and I know that you're out there, and I know that you're just looking for a way to get plugged in, and we'd love to be able to use you and have you help us out, getting this vision, getting this message out there, and moving us to the future. So yeah, any thoughts on that, guys? Anything you want to clarify or talk about on that?
No, but I'm going to ask my daughter for some ideas.
Yeah, absolutely.
After that course she went through, her college, or what her degree's in.
Okay, yeah. So that's where we're at. That's where 2023 is. I mean, obviously the end goal always is getting something in the water. But in the meantime, that's something else in 2023. I did talk to a couple of different investors in 2023 as well. You learn something every time you talk to them. At least I do. Things that, I shouldn't have said this. I should have had this information ready. I should have known this. they don't like this. I need to pivot. I need to figure out why this doesn't work. So many different things when talking to these investors, because they're throwing all these questions, all these numbers at you, and it's daunting. It's a nerve-wracking thing for me every time I talk to them. But I'm grateful I get the chance to, and we'll get there. And it's not a step back in any means. It's like I said before, had I got investors 10 years ago with the designs and the ideas I had back then, we would have failed because the business model and the designs were not where they needed to be for sustainability and to move the business forward in the way it needs to move.
Mm-hmm.
I'm comfortable and I'm confident now where ASC is at that we can do that. So now it's just the next part is honing down that finding that right investor, finding that right way to generate finances. Because I'm still not convinced we have to have an investor for this. Crowdfunding, different ways. We'll figure this out. It's just taking a little bit longer than I think intended, but I sometimes put harsh deadlines on myself or on the company that are sometimes not realistic. So that's where we're at with all that. Adam, anything you want to throw in for 2023?
No, I can't think of anything special.
Okay.
I wanted to.
Yeah.
While you were doing some talking, I got to. I was kind of doing some Googling because some of the words that you guys were tossing around, and another thing that we might want to look into is, as weird as it may seem, is there is trade shows and conventions for like the survivalist groups, the preppers and all that. They might be people that might be interested in that kind of thing too. Granted, you don't know what kind of audience that is, but I mean, it might be one too that at least could, I don't know, it would be a new demographic in a sense. And a lot of those guys are pretty hardcore into their whole like living off grid and having preparedness and all that stuff. So you never know what that genre could be necessarily.
Yeah.
The downside with that we face with a lot of, and I'm trying to be careful with my words here, with a lot of the demographics that we interact with, there's always like, it seems like a political leaning, which is like something that we're trying to avoid, because a lot of the groups that you've worked with in the past or talked with in the past is like a lot of it has a political agenda, and it seems like a lot of the survivalists and those preppers might as well. But at the same time, the interest could be there too. Yeah. So that's I was realizing that's something that they have trade shows all over too for that kind of thing. And like you're talking about, they have trade shows for the tiny homes that, just different areas where like you can make that bridge with a different group of people to maybe it's not something they've thought of before, but it could be something that they're interested in checking out.
Yeah, we got someone on YouTube here asking a question here, wanting to let's talk about locations.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess ideal locations. Is obviously somewhere a little bit more tropical, somewhere less hurricane prone. Is ideal. So the closer to the equator, the better on that kind of stuff. Obviously, at first, that's not. I thought the picture looked familiar. The name was throwing me off there. So Sean, he knows a lot about this, so he can definitely pipe in here as well. But yeah, close to the equator. Obviously, at first, we all said we're looking at. Unless some massive funding comes through or something like that, we're just looking at there's a rock quarry which is climate control, or not climate control, but it's element controlled, so we can have a test bed in pressurized water that we can deal with, and we can test it all out there at first. I'm personally much more fond of the Caribbean / Central American coast, Honduras, Belize, those areas and stuff along those lines. So I like what that has to offer. That being said, so yeah, and yes, Sean, 100%. He says, what I found was that government restrictions made it difficult. And that was one of the things I was talking to Creatus about too, was what kind of government restrictions are there in Costa Rica for building underwater habitats? And so they said, yeah, they're looking into that. It's a little different because there's not a military in Costa Rica. So it's kind of a you do at your own risk
There's
type
no
of thing.
military presence at all.
Yeah. Because, so.
Well, Costa Rica is also what technically a territory, isn't it?
No, it's country.
Oh, I'm totally unaware of which ones are territories and which
Gosh.
ones. Well, I mean, American territories like Puerto Rico and stuff.
No, it's in Central America. It's just south. It's right north of Panama. So yeah, Sean? Where have you looked at? What locations have you deemed to be ideal for what you were working on? Because Sean is one that has got underwater designs, and one I'd love to get on here and talk someday.
One of the names that kept popping up when we were at Demo was Grenada. That was a location that kept popping up quite a bit. That people had good experiences with, like when because they talked about how they were running their businesses out of it, and
yeah, he's saying in Australia, any area which is tidal has massive restrictions. Yeah, absolutely, because you're gonna. I mean, not only with tidal are you dealing with the difference between one pressure and more, because those differences are going to add a couple feet. You're also dealing with just the having the structure itself being hit by those tidal forces and stuff too. So you've got two different design elements you're combating against there. So, yeah, that's why I'm not a huge so. When I lived in Central America, like the Pacific side was horrible. The waves were disgusting. The water wasn't great. It was just overall horrible. But when you go across the country and you go to the Caribbean side, the Gulf side, stuff like that, it was like pristine. It was calm. It was like gorgeous. And so that's why part of me is like, I'd rather be building obviously on that side, and where you got beautiful beaches, and you've got the second largest barrier reef in the world coming off of Honduras there. So yeah. And Sean says he agrees any of these smaller nation states. Plus, with them, from a standpoint, they're always looking for ways to bring more money into the government too. So whereas the United States may not need it as much, or some of those bigger nations, these smaller ones are going to, if you're able to bring in revenue by either being a business or bringing tourists and stuff along those lines too, they're probably going to be a little bit more cool with you doing that, as long as you're not destroying the environment in the process. Tonga has some great little islands. They have massive hurricanes there, but as we say, look for a bay on the lee side. Sorry, I got a new light. It's like right in the middle where I can read it. I can't read.
I'm like, he didn't type anything difficult to say. I don't know what you're struggling with here, Brendon.
So anyway, yeah, like any of those islands down there are great. I think, but once again, the hurricanes, especially the further out you get out there, you get that one swash there in the Atlantic. The hurricanes are almost always coming through, and as we've seen with Aquarius, when they had those big ones come through, even at 66 feet or was it 20 meters underwater, it still took some damage from a massive hurricane being that deep underwater too. So yeah, those are all things to be looking for to protect it against, or have to make it so it can be easily movable in the case of a hurricane. And so he's got so the hurricanes track the same path, so you're looking on the opposite side. Yeah, true that. That is all accurate information that he's putting out there, but he knows that. But yeah, Sean's got. We'll talk real quick since he's in here, but him and me talked several years ago, which is on and off here and there, especially through social media and stuff like that. He's been commenting a whole lot more on some of the posts here recently, which I appreciate you doing that. Because that definitely helps the algorithm and it gets other people seeing it and getting it out there. So thank you for doing that. But yeah, he's got a, let's just say, yeah, for sure. That's ballast calc, long line swells can be devastating. Mm-hmm. Yep. But anyway, his really cool. And we posted some of his designs on social media not too long ago. I think it was either earlier this month or last month, things like that. But basically, it almost looks the easy way, which I know that this is making it sound worse than it actually is, but it almost looks like an igloo, and you like dive down in and you go into the front and you can come up in it, kind of thing. But that's it doesn't have like a moon pool per se where you come up under it. You go in through like almost through a front door, and there's different levels, and you come up and you can get in the dry area. And so, yeah, I'm pretty sure, and he can correct me if I'm wrong, but it can be modular as well, where you can attach more of those together and have bigger rooms and stuff on those lines too. So, yeah, that's why he's been working on for quite a while now too. So it's great to have you in here and talk to you. And like I said, and as I said the one time, I still want to get you on here sometime so we can actually sit down and talk more in depth about this, and hopefully have people ask questions for you too. Babe, you got anything since?
Oh, we turned serious because the only thing I had come up was going to be a smart aleck thing. And I'm not going to ruin what he's saying. He's got some good feedback.
Okay. Yeah, babe. Sean says it's basically a gravity-powered access tunnel. And here's Wiley.
What up, Wiley?
He says, "Yo, what up, my fish friends?"
Hey. Quickly, did you guys go see the Aquaman then?
No, I haven't had any time yet.
Haven't. Yeah, same here.
I may go see it Christmas. What?
So, I just don't get anybody that goes sees movies on Christmas.
What else you can do?
Go to Christmas, whatever. I'm gonna get upset.
So yeah. So thank you. Hey, good seeing you, Wiley. By the way, thanks for coming in here, Sean. Again. He's still got his website up. I don't have a link to it really quick here. But he has a website.
He can post it in the comments if he wants to.
Yeah.
And we'll post it up here.
Well, I won't show it to everybody though, but I can reshare it.
Yeah.
If you want to throw it out there, Sean, you're more than welcome to. But yeah, he's got a website that goes into it, shows off some of the designs and all that kind of stuff. Very cool. That's one thing I love, and we've talked about before in here is that there is no. I mean, there is a wrong design, but there's the ability to have so many different designs, basically accomplishing that same thing of keeping people alive and dry underwater,
preferably comfortably.
Yes, and comfortable as well. So yeah, and he wants to know, where's Dennis Chamberlain these days? Man, I don't know. I've shot Dennis emails. I still get his stuff. Dennis would be cool. I could call him probably, and he'd probably answer, but I'm not going to do that to him. I'm going to try and get in touch with him too. I know that he went kind of quiet because they had really pulled back and were making like supposedly they had gotten some funding and stuff too, and were moving forward on their construction of his next habitat that he had pulled, well, I think it's like a year ago, maybe two.
Yeah.
That he had sent out an email to everybody and was looking for people to be part of the project, and to people that were able to add to it. I told him just, it'd be a conflict of interest and I was willing to do anything I could to help him along the way, but I didn't think it'd be wise for us to be trying to work together on that. But then he had posted something vaguely on one of his posts about that they had gotten funding or something along those lines, but that was quite a while ago. So I that's all I know. I sent him an email just checking in and seeing if he wanted to do another interview on here again, and he never has responded. I'll shoot him a Christmas email, but that's all I know, man. Unless you got more information than I do. What's Wiley got to say here? All right, never mind. I should have read that first. Doc got it, Wiley.
I was gonna say, don't click on it.
Well, I can't read it. Yeah, Sean's like, he has to be pretty old now. I was in his original think tank for. Yeah, I know you were, and that's why I wasn't sure if you had hopped back in that new one. Yeah, when I talked to him a few years ago, he was like, man, he was like, man, I'm just willing to pass on information at this point in time for the ability to stay in an underwater habitat because he knows he's getting older and his time's limited and stuff along those lines. But we had him on here. Was one of the very first guests we had on, and we had what's his face? Oh shoot, I'm trying to blank now. That works with him. Anyway,
Joe?
yeah,
Bishop.
yeah, Joe Bishop. Thank you. Had him on here as well, and we talked about everything they were working on. And that was before all this recent stuff. They was talking about their past habitats and stuff along those lines.
That was like pre-COVID.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. But yeah,
I love how we refer to COVID as BC. Like,
yeah,
like that was 20 years before COVID.
But yeah, I'd love to see some update on what he's doing. I mean, basically, he was supposed to have that radio station and a bunch of other stuff he was working on. But he posts literally every day in the undersea colonies on Facebook. So I know he's
good
still
to get him back on sometime.
Yeah. When I shoot him a Christmas email, maybe I'll throw a hint in there about, hey, you need to come back over here and do a live again.
It'd be good to get a lot of those people we had in the past, like just to do a recap.
Yeah. Yep,
especially the ones that have been like a few years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because some of them, like when I was doing the review for the podcast and just they're showing like the most shared podcast we ever had was that guy that I can't pronounce his last name, but he had the submarines up in Michigan, Lake Michigan or wherever it was.
Oh, yeah.
That's our most shared podcast for some reason, is that one there. And so I wonder, how he's doing, if that business took off or what. Probably not too good with it being, I think he's pre-COVID too, so he probably got hit by that as well. But that'd be it.
Granted, I know Wiley was cracking a joke, but I do wonder, like, with a lot of those businesses that were doing, like, submersibles and stuff like that, like, how badly did that event, like, ruin it for a lot of other people? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Because there's plenty of, like, submersibles that for, like, tourist resorts and stuff that, like, granted, they only take you, like, a few feet under, not maybe a little bit more than a few feet, but, like, take you under just a little bit so you can see the aquatic life. So I'm like, I wonder how bad that hurt that industry, like, after that happened.
Yeah. I mean, those ones that are just like tourist ones, probably not too bad. It's just ones that are trying to go deeper.
Yeah.
But even then, I mean, there's companies like Triton and stuff along those lines that they're solid. They're
not using video game controllers.
So underwater intervention, eavesdropping on a conversation. I got involved with it. They had can't remember what company it was, but they had a submersible there, and they're talking about how they had a model of a small one. Like, this guy just bought one of these for his yacht, and these guys are like, how much does that cost? Like a couple million. You're like, every bit of that. And she's like, it's closer to $7 million. She's like buying a $7 million submarine, and he goes. And the thing is, they wanted all the seats and stuff gutted out of it, so it was almost like perfect, like the inside. So there's nothing there, so they could easily get like 360 views of everything while he's in there and stuff. So, yeah, dropping $7 million for a toy for his yacht
must be rough.
I mean, those are the kind of people we need to get in contact with. So,
like, hey, we got a different toy, like that you could get involved in for a lot less.
You can take your submarine down and we can stay at your underwater house.
Yeah, we'll figure out how we can dock together or something like that with your submarine and our habitat.
Just run into it really hard.
Drive through. Drive through.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not deep enough, it's not going to do that much damage. But anyway, you okay over there, Adam?
Yeah.
Anyway, guys. So yeah, in 2024, I'll just real quick say 2024. I think the focus is, I think, continuing to do what we're doing. I think that, for so many years I've thrown darts, trying to figure out what sticks and what doesn't stick and how to proceed. And it's been a discussion that Adam and me have had multiple times. You okay over there, Adam? Stop. All right, we're not posting that one either. We have to cut this out of the podcast. Anyway, as I said, for 2024, the focus is continuing to do what we've done. And it's more interviews. It's more building those solid networking connections we have and are making, whether it be with People have been dealing with it for a long time. Martin or these new ones down in Costa Rica and stuff along those lines. So anyway, so as I was getting in 2024, we've got a lot of people who have just jumped in here. Thank you from X over there. So thank you very much for coming in here. If you're new to ASC and what we're doing, our focus is to build modular single atmosphere manned underwater habitats. And so we usually do this live on Patreon, but with it being Christmas, we figured we'd do a live one. And since
For
the software,
everybody.
and since the software we use, we're able to get out there and get on X now. This is our first live on X, so this may be something we do a little bit more in the future. So I definitely encourage you to come back and join us later. But so yeah, 2024 is that. What about you guys? What for ASC? What do you want to? Obviously, our goal always is get closer and closer to actually building a habitat and put it in the water. And one thing when I was talking to the guys from Costa Rica, they were kind of shocked that we were trying to go full scale instead of doing like a scaled down model at first. And so maybe that's something we need to switch up a little bit. And if we can get a scale model out there, would that serve the same purpose as far as testing some of that stuff? And it may test some of the elements, but I still think there's a lot to be missed by that versus being able to put somebody in there and seeing how that reacts versus making something and putting like a cat or a guinea pig or something in there to see how that works. I'm just saying, you want to make sure they can breathe and everything. Anyway, so guys, what's your 2024 goals here?
Well, I think a lot of it would have to be really just learning from what has been working and what hasn't, and like what has been, I guess, available or not available, but it's hard for me to talk about because obviously you're doing 99% of everything anyway. So it's like, asking us what our goals would be with it, but.
I mean, but it's like you guys can be involved as much as you want to be.
Well, I know.
So it's one of those things where if with what you guys are doing, and do you want to be involved more? What would you like to see happen, and how would you like to be able to move it forward? Type of thing. I guess where I'm at with the whole thing.
Honestly, I would just like to keep, like I've said ever since I've participated in all this, is it's like we're eventually gonna find the right connection, and so It's just like in doing that, just keep building those connections that we're getting with people, and if the person we connect with isn't the one, but they might know somebody who is, that's kind of what it comes down to me. And so that's just keep branching out in LinkedIn, whether it's the if there's other types of trade shows or conventions, whatever it may be.
And we're talking about trade shows, but maybe trade shows aren't even the right path. I mean, we talk about that, but maybe there's a better way our time and our efforts could be served too.
Yeah. But yeah, I do like the concept of if there's a way to build a smaller version, like maybe even bigger than what a 3D printed version is. Still something like you could like haul.
Yeah.
But it's like, but then again, what are you gonna? We would need to know like what's the intention with a model. Like where are you gonna go with it? Who are you gonna show it to?
My thing in the conversations I've had is more for testing purposes of some of the ideas and stuff like that too. So it'd be pressure testing. One of the ideas we have is for how we're going to try to lowering it into the water versus all ballast, but making it neutrally buoyant and then pulling it down, testing that whole thing out, how that all plays out and works, and just showing off all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, if we Sean says try Musk's SpaceX build a habitat as a colony analog. Yeah, if that's always been one of our things. Is like, man, if we could just get a hold of them, but
because so far all the designs have been able to fit. The diameter of that could easily fit inside of it's no wider than a Falcon rocket, and obviously with the Starship, it would definitely fit inside there. So you could do that moving forward and putting it in there and launching something like that and putting it on surface somewhere. But absolutely, it may be somebody like that has that drive and the financial backing to come along and be like, yeah, that's what we need. It says near SpaceX, there's an estuary, seascape, a sandbar that then flood it.
Build it there so they would see
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Man,
and look at this. Now you have to.
and if you could put like a thing on top, you'd have like the best launch seats in the world too. So, but yeah. And then Glenn, who I'm surprised didn't hop in here tonight. He's down there in Texas.
Glenn.
Yeah, Glenn.
Santa Claus.
Yeah, Santa Claus Glenn. That's probably honestly where he's at.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's down there in Texas too, so I know he's got connections. He's pretty far down there as well.
Well, we should talk about that, building a smaller version, because if you're not actually going to put, I mean, depending on the size, that's what we need to talk about. If you're not going to put,
there he is.
Oh,
yeah, we're just talking, dude. That's loud.
Sorry,
we were literally just talking about you, Glenn. And
sorry, babe. I didn't mean to scream that loud.
Yeah,
I got excited that Glenn jumped on.
We've all got earphones in.
We haven't talked to Glenn in forever, and we were just talking about him. Now here he is.
Yep.
There's old Santa Claus themselves.
Glad to hear it, Glenn. Glad to see you, buddy.
Yeah.
Sorry, as you were, before I got super excited about Glenn.
Well, I just going to ask, would it help to be able to find a location easier, and would it cut down on the bureaucracy needed to initially build one by building a smaller one? I mean, if your intent is to put testing devices in it instead of a human, if it's small enough, big enough, depending on what you're wanting to do, would that cut down on the bureaucracy of it, kind of thing?
Yeah, I don't know. And Joseph Bishop's just like the thing. So yeah, we've got everybody coming in here. And Sean just posted on here. He's talking about like how they built SeaWorld. They stabilized the sandbar, bulldoze it. My question with that would you still run into a bunch of regulation issues again, which were, trying to. And then the bureaucracy is insane in the West. Yeah.
That's the thing. Like all the hurdles that will.
Yeah, Glenn says yes, babe. It would be.
Yeah.
All the hurdles will come with it, because even after it's built, then I mean, if we don't have a potential location already in mind, then it's like crossing all those hurdles of like, all right, we got this thing built. Let's go put it somewhere. Well, now we have to go figure out what all this red tape is, and
Yep.
Ideally, it'd be great to find a company that's willing to deal with all that stuff for us.
Well,
that can like fight those fights that have already fought. Like,
I don't think anybody wants to fight any fights, but
there's certain companies that are set up to do it, where they're just like, this is our job, is to fight, like, governments and stuff like that. I shouldn't say governments, like as in like
like the man,
insurrectionists and anarchists. No, but like dealing with the paperwork. Maybe that's a better way of putting it.
Right. And Sean puts in there, he goes, if it's not titled, then it's not a problem. So that's an interesting something. I guess something. I'll shoot you a message, Sean. Talk a little bit more about that off here, because that's interesting. But hey, Glenn, how you been? What's been going on? How's work going? How's Santa Claus business going?
Every time I look down at Babe, I keep thinking he's wearing a do-rag for a second, like, until I see the little cotton ball there.
What he looks like is that Santa Claus character I use in Fortnite sometimes.
Cool.
So for anybody listening to the podcast,
you,
now you need to go jump over and watch the video format, because you got to see what Babe looks like as the.
I love the fact that you sent us a message earlier saying like, "Hey guys, means it's our Christmas one. You guys can get festive if you want. And
Well,
and here you are doing absolutely nothing for
okay.
it.
For fairness, when I thought about that, I was going to go, I'm going to wear that Christmas hat I have. But my youngest niece took it to school, and she has no idea what she did with it. So I have no hat now to wear. So the intention was there.
You could have found something, Red. Did you guys? I know you guys put up a Christmas tree. You could have taken a couple of
Put in my earrings.
Yeah. Are your ears still pierced?
I get 2 holes in. Glenn says, new career, new location, back at 50 hours plus a week, enjoying the challenge. Wow.
I thought you were supposed to be retired. What is with all these retired people working harder than...
No, you never retire. Never retire. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? Enjoy yourself?
Go stir crazy?
That's probably true.
Yeah. So anyway, I covered all my bases. So I mean, at this point in time, it's kind of just open to chat or
open
you guys.
Mic.
Yeah, open mic or open to whatever you guys want to talk about.
Yeah, what's the deal with airplane food?
What, the peanuts? That's pretty much all you get on there.
Whatever. I don't think I've ever been on a flight where they serve peanuts.
Well, if it helps any, I've had better airplane food than I have submarine food.
How many submarines have you been on?
Well, none. That's why I've had better.
Oh, okay. I'm just like...
Okay.
Glenn says he tried it. I'm guessing talking about retirement. Did not work out. Bobby won't accept it. Got to move.
Yeah.
He meant his body. I was like, who's Bobby?
Bobby
Hill.
Body. His body won't accept.
Yes, I know.
Body.
I put that up there.
Yeah.
I put that up there. I was going to say something right before I posted it up there. What were we talking about?
Airplane food.
And I was talking about peanuts.
Yeah, I was going to say, every flight I've ever taken, there was never peanuts on it.
There's something before that I was going to say, but what doesn't really matter.
Open mic?
No. Don't even try. It's not. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone.
Trying to trigger your memory.
I know what I was going to say. So I've been watching the algorithm as we're up here. And since this is our first night doing X, I mean, we had up to 6 viewers at one point in time. We've been holding steady with 1, but we've got 2 in here right now. So that's pretty cool. And to answer your question, of course not, Glenn. It's
me.
Well,
I was
true.
underwater.
I mean, people, yes. It's a frustrating. First of all, it's been a frustrating year. 2023 has been off for a lot of people I've talked to, and I'm not trying to use that as an excuse by any means. But it just seems like it's been a weird year. But no, and we talked about this at the beginning of the live stream tonight. That we've been making some good connections, and that's pretty much what it seems like we do a lot of. But there is some stuff coming down as far as different organizations that are out there that we've been talking to, and the consensus is, hey, we're probably not going to do this by ourselves. So if we can join together and do this together, more people with like-minded getting this done, is that the way we should tackle this? So it's something that's been posed to me by more than one group of people that are working on projects. And so it's now the decision is, do I jump on board with other people to try to get this done, or do we keep on doing what we're doing and try to do this by ourselves? And that's kind of the decision that's in my lap right now. And I think that's the first time I've already talked about that on any of these videos or anything like that either, without putting names out there or putting out details of that. So that is, that's what's going on. But we were just talking as well, as you came in here, about building a scaled down version to move things forward, to actually do some testing. And hopefully by that means, once again, having something physical out there. We printed a 3D model that Babe has. But still, that's not ideal. As Glenn says, he says, sounds like a plan. Good idea to connect with those who can help. Yeah, and so that's the whole thing, is the different organizations. That one of them isn't in the same focus as we are, but I still think that they're a good contact and we can work together with them well. The other one is trying to do the same thing we're doing, but they're not any further along than we are. I mean, they got some really good contacts, and they're all about contacts. But once again, it's an older gentleman Not that it has anything to do with it at all, but so we'll see. It's a big decision. It's one that it's going to take quite a while of talking back and forth and making sure it's a good fit on both people's sides before we'd ever go down that path. And in the meantime, it's just keep on doing what we're doing, trying to, allocate funds, time, whatever to doing ASC and making sure it's moving forward in the best way possible. So we'll see. I got a trip down to Florida here after the beginning of the year, most likely to meet up with one, which I talked about earlier on in the show that we're building a relationship with, and then we'll see about the other one too. But fortunately, I've got years I can still work on this, but it's already taken a whole lot longer than I ever planned on it taking. Yeah. Glenn says, "Good to see you're still at it. I'll try to keep in touch more." You're good. It's every bit of me. Yeah, it's every bit of me as well. And that's one of the things I'm going to work on better in 2024 is a more regular schedule of contacting people. That's one thing I'm horrible at is like I get in here, I get in my thing, and I just block people out. And Adam knows that. I mean, him and me haven't really talked that much over the past several weeks as well. Just I had so much going on. And when I get in work mode, it's just everything else gets shut out. So I need to start blocking off periods of time to just contact people. And same with you, babe. I mean, we'll go for a while where you don't hear anything from me at all. And I'm just, that's how I am with everybody. If I have to see my family, they would never see me type of thing. So so I'm horrible about that. I know that's a thing I got to work on, and that goes for business and personal life. So it's something I'm definitely going to work on more in 2024 is reaching out to people and keeping them close. With that being said,
I'm glad Glenn popped in because I was actually going to ask you guys about Glenn tonight. It's like I haven't seen him in a while. Does anyone know anything about Glenn? So it's awesome to see you on here.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, I know he had liked when I posted this thing out there, so I knew he was going to go on. But like, so obviously it's his busy time of year. So
yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Hey, Merry Christmas, Glenn.
Thank you.
And yes, same to you. With that, unless you guys have anything else, we can go ahead and start wrapping this baby up.
Okay, I was going to say earlier that we need to do a George Orwell, right? Did the radio show for War of the Worlds. We need to do that and convince everyone the aliens can't go in the water. So everyone's going to want to live in the water,
So like from like signs where they're like they can't touch water.
Right. Yeah.
Are you saying like do a radio show where we like make people think that aliens have showed up?
Yeah.
They have shown up.
Okay. But the difference is like back when that radio show went on, nobody could go jump on their phone quick to just be like, wait a minute.
Right.
Like I'm not seeing anything on Google about this.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Anywho.
All we got to do is crop the right video and just hijack a satellite.
Maybe the aliens are underwater, like in the abyss, and so therefore it defeats the whole purpose too.
And then then people like think that we're involved with them. They'll be like, "You guys were trying to get us like to move in next to them."
And just think of all the people that would buy it because of that.
That's true. That's true. There would be a huge community that would take us up on that as well.
So let's go live there.
Win-win.
Does it really matter? I mean, here they are.
Yep.
Well, real quickly before we wrap this up,
yes, sir.
I want both of you guys to say one.
Glenn's like, babe may have a brilliant idea.
I want you guys to tell me one thing that you're proud of this past year.
For like personal life or ASC?
Doesn't matter.
Oh.
You can do one of each if you want to do ASC and then one personal one.
I'm proud of?
Yeah, that you're proud of yourself, that you're like, at least, this is, I did this year.
I had a goal of a weight loss goal, and I'm almost reached that. Everybody that sees me is like, man, you lost a lot of weight. So I'm probably the lightest I've been. I thought you said the widest. I'm like, I know.
I don't think that's the goal, dude.
That's why I reset it. The lightest I've been in probably like 25 years.
I'm the widest I've ever been, guys. I've lost so much weight. I think Brendon's lost it.
Anyway, and for his ASC, and once again, I think about it a lot. It was one of those. I'm sure I've talked about it, and maybe I never said it in live stream or not. But if I haven't, it means even more. But when I was talking to the guys down in Costa Rica, they mentioned how that we ASC, we seem to be the leading the edge in the underwater habitat revolution in the movement, and that is always something I've strived to do and be. And for somebody else to say that, I think that was a high point for me in what we're doing, that being recognized by somebody else, and the fact that their whole entire team fought to get on the live video with me because they wanted to ask questions and talk and stuff along those lines. So once again, that I hope I didn't let them down, but it was just those two things there. So the personal goal and then the ASC thing. Babe, what about you?
Well, I mean, as far as moment personal, my daughter,
Yeah,
I got my daughter married.
yeah.
That was a pretty big thing this year.
Did you say you got her married?
I got her married. I kicked her right out.
I was gonna say, like, did you you're like
It's a arranged wedding.
He found a proper suitor for his.
Yeah,
That's right.
Did you get some land in the deal too, and like maybe some like we've gained 5 acres for this one?
Set of tools. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
That's good. That's
And actually, the ASC thing, I mean, honestly, what you just said actually made me proud just to be a part of that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. I
agree. I was like,
that's really awesome.
I wanted to cry almost. It was just one of those things where it's just like, man, thank you.
You need those moments once in a while from someone outside of the norm to be
100%.
able to give you that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's one thing when you have like your close friends or your family that's just like constantly giving you the pat on the back, and it's always nice and appreciated. But like when someone that you don't know at all has something like positive to say about what you're doing, that's what's good.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like with it being it's frustrating doing what we're trying to do because it's running up against people not wanting to do whatever, reaching out to people they're not want to talk, or laughing at you, or lack of investors and lack of movement. It gets very frustrating doing what we're trying to do. So to hear stuff like that, it definitely does help in more ways than one. And then what about you, Adam?
Oh, see, I thought it was exempt from it, meaning I was the one that got to post.
You're on the live, so you got to do it.
I'd say as far as the ASC end goes, like I've said a million times, like you back everything 99%, but so like I don't want to take accolade for anything, but I was happy to step out of my comfort zone and go on this trip to do the DEMA thing and do something that I've never done before, and try to make pitches to people and network, like. And like you said, for a project that a lot of people are gonna, cock their eyebrows at a little bit, where, and I'm glad that I did it. It was a fun thing. It was a great experience to do it, and because I've always been a super social guy, pretty outgoing for the most part, but that's still different than trying to do a sales pitch in a way, or try to, in a business setting. Like I can get along with anybody in a casual setting, but like when it comes to like trying to do a business type deal, I mean, that's a completely different kind of world for me. So, and I guess as far as like a personal thing, as stupid as it sounds, like a couple weekends ago, last weekend, both my daughters had their Christmas dance recital that they do. They're both in dance or whatever. And at the end of the show, they bring all the dancers out and they do like a bow or whatever. And just made my heart feel full watching my girls up there take a bow for their dances and all that stuff. It was fun to watch, and
Yeah.
it makes you sad a little bit too because it's like, oh man, like they're still supposed to be babies and they're 10 and 7. So
Yeah. You blink and they're gonna be, you're gonna be married off.
yeah, and I'm trying to marry them off. Be like,
Yeah.
someone needs to take this kid off my hands. God forbid, God bless the dude that has to take my youngest daughter because she is gonna be a terrorist.
So wrapping up here, Sean just threw a comment in here. He said, if there's a project closer to implementation, why not jump on board? And I agree. But I don't know of any ones that are necessarily have any funding or further along than.
I think kind of taking on what you were saying earlier about if there's an opportunity for a collaboration.
Yeah, and that's what it'd be both of us putting our different sets. Because like the one person I'm talking about that's talking about a collaboration, he has definitely got connections and stuff along those lines, and he's got a lot of stuff. Whereas we've got the whole American side of the thing, the English, since once again going on and stuff along those lines. It's the social media aspect of the thing, and the outreach where they don't do that. But as far as funding, neither one of us has got funding. We just both have designs, and we've talked to different people, and that's where we're at. Once again, I need to talk with this person again because it's been a minute, because they were looking at some potential avenues. But I agree. I'm not. Obviously, this is my baby, and I want to see it happen. But I'm more passionate about just underwater habitats in general, and seeing that come to fruition. That if it was the right move, yeah.
Well,
you
ready to close it up?
Well. Yeah,
we can close up, and if anybody has any,
absolutely.
It. Well, I'm gonna give the outro. We'll continue to answer questions if we need to.
Yeah.
LatticeSeaColony.com, guys. That's where you can find everything about us and get all the links to everything too. I'm talking all of our social medias: Facebook, LinkedIn, X, Instagram, YouTube, the Discord. All the links to it are there on our website. So we appreciate any of the likes and follows we can get on any of those social medias, especially the YouTube page and the podcast. Like we showed earlier in the slideshow, all of our numbers for that. So, it's the freest thing you can do is to just follow the socials and, share our posts and stuff as you feel so inclined to do. Speaking of such, we have the Discord on there as well. Like I said, join the community. Like I said, we're like 62 members right now. We just had 2 new members. 2 days ago, and Sean being one of them, right? Yeah, Sean was one of them. So yeah, lots of cool conversations that go on in there. I'm assuming once Babe and Brendon talk about or go see Aquaman, they'll probably talk about it in our movies section of the Discord channel, where we talk about aquatic related movies and media, so video games and whatever it may be. Also, quickly back on that Atlantic Sea Colony page, there is a resource page that Brendon has set up. Book recommendations, podcast recommendations, YouTube channel recommendations that are just related to different things underwater. So check that out too if you feel so inclined. AtlanticSeaColony.com/merch. Once again, Babe's the only one repping the merch today. He's got his Aquanaut shirt on, his ASC Aquanaut shirt.
I love that shirt. I love it. That's one of my favorite designs.
So yeah, go to there. We have merchandise. We have tons of cool designs over there. Tons of different products. So your t-shirts, hoodies, your hats, stuffed animals. There's mouse pads, just all kinds of things. Water bottles, anything you could think of. We got a version of it.
I don't want to go that far.
I know. We got a pretty good variety of stuff though. We do. We have a good selection of stuff. Also, today was brought to you out of the kindness of the hearts of ASC, but for the most part, our live streams are exclusive to the Patreon members first, and then we repost the videos onto social media, but they're not actually live.
And they're usually redacted and stuff along those lines.
Yeah, and we cut them. Cut them down. So that's one of the things. So if you are so willing to join the Patreon, We have different tiers in that. The cheapest tier will get you right into being able to see the live streams. We do 5, 15, and 25. I always forget that 5, 15, and 25. And speaking of those Patreon members, we got Brian Acosta, Matthew Cathy, Martin Reese, Estevide, that guy right up there, Adam Jewell, that guy right down there, and Ron Traxler, dad of ASC.
Yeah.
Father of ASC. Father of the founder of ASC.
There you go.
There we go. So yeah, thank you to those guys. Like Brendon said, it's the donations like that can help us do the maintenance and do the marketing and all that. And with enough support, it could be also the supplies and building of it too. So anything's possible.
Yep, absolutely.
So, we appreciate what we have and what you guys are willing to help out with. And lastly, check out the Colonize the Ocean podcast, which it's a lot of times it's the redacted versions of the live streams, but also Brendon puts up a
short,
like shorts or whatever too.
Yeah.
So basically on all podcast platforms.
I think so. I need to check the Apple. Apple is funky, but it was on there. I still think it's on there. But yeah.
Yeah, but Spotify and Spotify, Google. I use one called Castbox. It's on there. So yeah, check them all out and subscribe and listen to that as well. I know it might seem so irrelevant, but when you like and subscribe to those things, it takes you up on like a chart basically, and you basically start getting free advertising for it because it starts putting you up on lists and stuff. So the good kind of list, not the bad kind of list. We don't want to be on bad lists.
No.
Not around Christmas.
That's right.
See how I ended with that, guys?
That was great. It was great.
So anyways, guys, thank you once again for joining us. I hope you guys had a wonderful 2023, and I hope you have an even better 2024. We will be back in January with more stuff and hopefully, I guess, more to show you and whatever. So have a great New Year's and be safe and all that good stuff.
Bye.